I'm not going to cover all the principles here. You could read them, but we are going to cover them along the way. But what I'll do is I'm just going to show you kind of how we break it down here. So when we break it down by major element, so household, animal, annual garden, food forest, and swale. Now the reason those are broken up into different places is because they are placed differently on the property, and sometimes that impacts which water source provides that need. Okay, so for our household, our primary is our well water. Now whenever you see well water, I want you to immediately also think back up to the well. So if we have our well water, well, if we lose power, we have a generator to run the well. Well, if we run out of fuel or the generator doesn't work, we have a hand pump on our well. Okay, so that's redundancy, what gives us security. Okay, so primary is well water, secondary is storage, and we're going to talk a lot about water storage and basic household and animal water storage and all the different ways that you can do that. And tertiary for us is rainwater. We do a lot of rainwater collection here. So that's kind of the breakdown of our household. So on our animals. So we have here on the property lots of chickens. We raise ducks and turkeys, and we don't have any ducks and turkeys right now. We have goats and sheep. We have pigs, and rabbits. We have a lot of rabbits and things like that. So all of our animals need water, and it's important to us to make sure they have clean water. So primary is rainwater. Okay, and we'll talk about how we kind of filter that out. Our secondary for our animals is stored water, and tertiary is well water. Okay, so you see kind of how that flows with the different elements. Our annual garden, based on its placement, is primarily rainwater, secondary is stored, and tertiary is well. Our food forest, which is again is in a different location, it's actually out front, is primary is spring water, secondary is well, and tertiary is stored. Okay, and swales, which I'm going to show you, and if you don't know what that is, you will soon enough. Primary is seasonal flow, because we can irrigate from our seasonal flow. And a lot of times when you irrigate seasonally, swales do a great thing, and they really don't need to be watered after that. And for us, our swales are tree growing systems. Okay, so we have productive trees on our swales that provide that. Tertiary is pond water. Okay, so we've thought through all these things, and this is how we approach and have a comprehensive water plan. So if we go to our topographic map here, that's the satellite topo mix, we have our annual stream that runs along here, and all this dotted line is all seasonal flow or spring water that's being developed. So if we start down here in the lower left-hand corner, the yellow shapes down here, these are springs. Okay, they're springs. So we have a partially developed spring down here, and we have an undeveloped spring up here. So the little triangles, the red triangles with the CD, are check dams. And we're going to learn about that as well today too. So we put in a series of check dams in our seasonal flow, and that gets us to slowing, spreading, and soaking water. Okay, so you can see we have a lot of check dams, and some of these are not yet placed. Okay, so I don't want to mislead you. Some of this stuff we haven't completed yet. Most of it we have, but we're going to be adding a couple more ponds. We're going to be developing that spring up there. And these are all collection points, rainwater collection points. So we have one on our barn right here. We have one on our house right here. We're going to be adding one right there. And we're going to be adding one above the food forest so we can gravity feed our food forest. So we have seasonal flow here. We're going to be developing this further. I have done some development with it, and I'll show you some pictures of that. So we do have the ability about 6 months out of the year to irrigate from that spring. And my hope is by hydrating the land that we are going to increase that. And you can actually increase seasonal flow to where normally it runs 6 months out of the year. We can expand that out to 7, 8, 9, maybe even create a year-round stream. That can be done. And there's techniques to do that, and it may take time, but it can be done. So we have a series of ponds that we put in. Nothing was here. There was nothing here. There was some seasonal flow for about 4 or 5 months out of the year, and it just off the land. That's what it did. So we put in some ponds here, 1, 2, 3, and we're going to be putting in number 4 and 5 soon. So we have this partially done. All these little brown things here are swales, and so those are, we'll talk about more, but those are rainwater harvesting ditches that are on contour. Okay, and they do an amazing job For very little investment, you can improve your property greatly using swales. Not every property is fit for swale use, but if you have that ability, I'd highly recommend it.